But I am passionate about supplements because, first of all, before I had a child diagnosed with autism, I was the most unholistic person that could have existed. I used to laugh at the people that took bunches of supplements and they would have their little trays, and I used to make fun of them. And I used to never walk into a health food store. And I was one of those persons who believed that if I just ate a decent diet, why take supplements? I mean, I was just very negative. Then I had a child with autism, and I started reading about it, and I maybe tried one or two things, didn't really see anything. And then, remember in my last talk, I mentioned that I took my son to another state to see a doctor because I decided that I wanted to chelate my child. And I took my child all the way to another state because I felt that this doctor was better than the one that was local. And she did all this testing on me and sent me this list of supplements that I needed. And I was daunted. I was like, whoa, no way. All right? But she said, okay, what I want you to do is before you can chelate him, he needs to be on all these things. So start them one at a time, every 2 or 3 days apart. And then once he's on all of these things for 2 weeks, then you can start chelation. And so that was my motivation, right? So I went through the hell of trying to get it down him and all of that, and I'm going to deal with that. But what really amazed me is that I was not expecting the results that I got, because I was going to get chelation to help my son get better. But what I didn't realize, just by getting this additional nutrition in him, my son went from here to here before we even began chelation. And I had no idea because I was not expecting that. And I will talk about some of the things that we saw, but it really woke me up to the importance of it. And even now that I've got a child who's recovered, nutritional supplements going to be one of the last things I give up. And I will probably try to get it to him until he fights me tooth and nail and I have no more control. Because I believe that it helps protect them and keep their brain and their body functioning well. Because even though he's recovered, I believe there are still inherent weaknesses there. And he is still under attack environmentally. And I think that it is my protection to keep him from regressing. And I've also learned that when I give my typical children, including myself, these same things, that I feel better. And it's opened my mind and my world to the importance of these things. And I've learned to treat myself and my family. And we don't go to the doctor very much anymore. We don't need to go on antibiotics. So there's a lot of empowerment and knowing how to use nutritional supplements to help your child with autism, and not only that, yourself and your other family members as well. So anyway, I'm a big believer in this, and I just want to give you a little bit of an overview about New Beginnings, because that's the company that I helped start with Dr. Shaw. And we were trying to focus on creating high quality and pure supplements, because there's a lot of supplements out there on the market that are not, and they have heavy metals in them, and they have a lot of chemicals and toxins, and some of the things that Shula talked about are in these. So you need to make sure that because our children are little sponges and they're toxins, they don't excrete them well, and it affects them negatively. We've got to keep pure supplements in them. And we gear our products toward children with autism so that there's no gluten, there's no casein, there's no soy, and all the things that they can be sensitive to are not there. So we try to focus and have a complete line where almost everything that you would need for autism is there in one place, trying to be a one-stop shop, because we know how expensive it is to get things from different places. We also carry fluoride-free toothpaste and aluminum-free, chemical-free sunscreen and deodorant, and we try to provide things that are healthy, because people can't always get them close by. We test our raw materials for toxins, so you know that our calcium doesn't have lead in it, and that all of our minerals are tested for toxins, as well as the other products as well that we carry. but minerals are the ones that typically are tainted. They did a study pulling off of drugstore shelves a bunch of different forms of calcium, and a majority of them had unsafe levels of lead. So that's something you've got to be aware of. We are very proud of the fact that we have an amazing customer service team that does an amazing job, and my main service person is a mom of a child with autism. We keep up with the new research. We go to all the DAN conferences. We're always expanding and updating our product line. We provide gluten-free, casein-free snacks, as well as the toxin-free personal items I talked about. And we provide personal support to doctors and to patients and to clients, which are parents. What we do for Canada, because we know that it's very hard for Canadians to get quality products over the border. And we know that you pay an arm and a leg for shipping, and we know that you have a hard time with having things stopped. You have to pay storage fees. There's duties and taxes that you get hit with, and it really is hard. And so we've teamed up with an excellent company called Spectrum Supplements, and they are back with us. John, who is a father of a recovered kid, nearly recovered, if not recovered kid, who is passionate about children with autism and helping them. He works with us, and he provides our product line to Canada as well, and that has worked well for us. So if, in fact, at some point you're interested in any of our products, John, pick up one of his cards, because it might be the best option for you. So first of all, Dr. Shaw did an amazing job this morning, and he laid the groundwork of why nutritional supplements are important for autism. And so he talked a lot about what I might have talked about if he hadn't, but I'm just going to build on what he's talked about and maybe do a few reminders. But I remember when I first learned about supplements and the fact that kids with autism were taking boatloads of supplement, my question was why? Why does this needed? And I needed to know what those answers were before I decided to buy into this and to get on board and to spend my hard-earned money and, deal with the anxiety of just having and the exertion of having to get this stuff down our kids, right? Well, because they're deficient. They have real-life deficiencies, and these deficiencies show up on test results. But the important thing is to know that they are deficient because they have restricted diets, okay? First of all, autistic children are known to be picky eaters, right? Nod if you know that that's true. Now, if you have a child who's not a picky eater, you consider yourself lucky because you're rare. Most of these kids are picky eaters. So they self-restrict, okay? And then we come along and we take out more stuff, right? We take away wheat. Well, guess what? Wheat is a good source of B vitamins, okay? So we take that away. And we take away dairy, because dairy is bad for them. But guess what? Dairy is a good source of calcium. All right, so it is so critical to put back in what they're not getting naturally in their food. And there's a whole other area of people that talk about that our food supply does not contain the vitamins that it used to. The soil is being depleted, environmental things that are happening. That even if you do eat a healthy diet, there are still deficiencies. For example, Dr. Shaw mentioned that vitamin D deficiency is epidemic, especially in northern climates such as Canada. And do you know that if you are a woman and you're vitamin D deficient, you have double the chance of getting breast cancer? Do you know that vitamin D is hugely affects depression? And it's a huge factor in